Hey guys, today we're going to be replacing a light with this light here. We're going to be replacing this light up here that hangs above one of our dining room tables with this light. This is an Artika Carter Square. I hope that's how that's pronounced. It's a chandelier. This light up here was from IKEA, and it was always meant to be a temporary light until we found something that we liked to be more permanent. So today we found this, and that's what we're going to put up there. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this light. This light came from IKEA, and it's got two tabs on the top that slide back and forth. And if you slide them the right way, the light will actually just fold down. And I'll show you just like that. This exposes the LED ring as well as the wiring here. But I can't get to the back of the wiring to disconnect the wires until I actually bring down the fixture itself. That's held up here by two Phillips head screws. So I'll unscrew those and then I'll pull the fixture down. Okay, now that I've removed those screws, I can see the wires for the fixture itself and I can start to disconnect those. Okay, these are held on by wire nuts, which I featured in another video as well. This is an easy way to connect two electrical wires together. We just turn them counterclockwise to disconnect them. There's also some electrical tape on the ground here. And I will just take that off. Alright, now that we have the old fixture removed, we have our black wire, we have our white wire, and our naked ground wire here, and we're ready to put up the new light. Having installed a few other lights from this same brand, Artika, I've found that they're very convenient. Not only are the wires clearly labeled, but the fixtures themselves come with everything that's needed in order to install them properly. So other than a screwdriver, normally you can just open the box and put the light up. That's not the case with a lot of light fixtures that are out there. So I highly recommend this brand if you like their style and you're replacing lights in your house. Okay, now we're going to open up the new light fixture and we'll see what's included in the box. And it should have everything we need. I may have to put this on the floor to fit it in frame, but let's see what we got. So we have instructions here. And we have a little wrench, some wire nuts, and the screws required to actually mount the light. Let me put this on the floor real quick. Okay, so we have the lighting frame. This is the frame of the chandelier here. Good size. And this is the part that actually holds the light bulbs and will hang inside of that frame. The color scheme of this is gold and black, which I like. And then you have your wires here. And this is the housing or the base, the part that will actually mount to the ceiling that the rest of the chandelier will hang from. And we'll open that up so you can get a better view of it. Okay, this also has the mounting bracket on the other side. And we can unscrew these. So I can just pull the bracket off and show you guys what we're working with here. So this is the mounting bracket, and as you can see, it has a hanging wire. I used this hanging wire in the closet light replacement video, and I'm going to use it again here because it makes the whole installation a lot easier when you're dealing with wiring. Now if you notice on this part, you'll have a black and white wire, but there's no ground. That's because the ground is actually included in here, and you'll see this naked wire here. That's the ground wire. So we'll match up the wires from the light fixture itself to the wires that are coming out of the ceiling, and we'll get this mounted up. One thing I've noticed with this particular light is that it doesn't come with light bulbs. So we're gonna have to get some light bulbs to put in it. I like the light bulbs that it has on the front here. These are kind of Edison type LED bulbs. So I think that's what we're gonna end up putting in this, just because it fits the whole style. This particular chandelier has a few really nice features. The first feature it has is a tilt feature. So if you're mounting this not on a flat ceiling, but a ceiling that's vaulted, you can actually have it hang straight down, and the panel that attaches to the ceiling here, hold on, I'll show you. The panel that attaches to the ceiling will be actually mounted like this, but the chandelier itself will hang straight down. So that's a really nice feature. Another feature that it has is adjustable height. So the length of this pole, sometimes you need it to be much closer to the ceiling, or you need it to hang down lower so it can provide light to a table that's really far below it. So it's actually got multiple bars that it comes with that you can just screw onto the top here, and you can have it hang lower or higher depending on what your needs are. Also, it looks like they've included enough cable to accommodate that extra length. So that's really good. Okay, for our specific needs for this, we've decided that we only need to use one of the extra bars on top of the bar that's already installed, because that's the length we're looking for here. Okay, because we've decided that we need an extra bar for this to hang at the right length, we're going to install the extra bar now. But before we start that, we need to put the cage on the chandelier itself to make sure the bars match up. Okay, to put the cage on the actual chandelier, we need to remove this little gold nut. So we'll unscrew that, and then we'll slide the wires through. And then we actually need to feed the wires through the hole in the cage, this part. So we're going to take it and we're going to feed them up through this hole at the top. Here, up through the hole at the top here. And then we'll pull this through. Okay. And then we will feed it onto the thread here. And there's another plastic washer. We're going to have to feed that over the cables as well. Okay, that sits up there. So basically the frame is going to be sandwiched between two plastic washers. Actually, these are not plastic washers, they're metal washers. All right, and then we're going to take that same gold nut that we took off and we're going to slide it back on top. And this is what the provided wrench is for, to tighten this nut up. So we have a little wrench that they provided us. We'll hold this down here, and then we can just use this wrench to make sure everything's tight. Okay. Now that we have the cage in place, we can add that bar extension on top. Okay, to add the bar extension, we're just going to feed the wires through like we did for the cage and for the metal nut that's up here. And then we'll pull the wires all the way through, and we can screw on the bar extension. Alright, there we go. That's about the length we want. I'll see if I can give you a better view. That's the length of the chandelier that we want. Okay, one thing to make note of. the base plate, or the plate that's going to be installed in the ceiling, this part here, you can see this is threaded. This is the male connection. And because we added the pipe here for extra length, you can see that the end of it is also threaded. So those two aren't going to fit together properly. What you need to do is you need to add this really short length of pipe that came with it, which has 2 female ends. So you can screw this thread in here and the other end into the base plate. Just like the longer length of tube that we added on earlier, we're going to thread this shorter one on the same way, and we'll screw it on the top up here. All the way down, and we'll screw it up here. This gives us the proper connection at the top, which will then thread into the base plate here on the ceiling. To get this light up on the ceiling, we first have to mount the bracket. To do this, we put the wires through the hole in the center of the bracket. And then we line up the screw holes of the bracket with the screw holes that are in the conduit housing in the ceiling. Once we have those lined up, we can put the screws in place and the mounting bracket will be up. Okay, for the next part, we're going to install the ceiling base onto the actual chandelier. The reason why we need to do this is because we need to pull the wires through this hole of the base before we mount it to the ceiling. And also, that way we can utilize the hanging wire so we can hang the chandelier and take care of the wiring at the same time. To attach the base to the chandelier, just like the other extension pipes, we're going to take the wires and we're going to feed them through the base here. So we'll put them in the hole here, and then they'll come out through the other side. And we'll just pull them through, and then we can screw this base onto the actual chandelier. Because I don't plan on changing the length of this hanging chandelier, and I have all of this extra wire, I'm actually going to cut this down here so I don't have as much wire to coil up into the base. To cut the wires, it's pretty straightforward. You can use a knife or you can use a pair of wire cutters like these. I highly recommend wire cutters. Pick the length that you want in the cable and just snip it off. Make sure the other cable is the same length, snip it off as well. The next thing you're going to need to do is strip the ends so you can get to the exposed wire. You can use a wire stripper for this and it will just automatically do it. You can cramp the ends and it will strip it for you. I don't have my wire strippers with me, so instead I'm just going to take a razor like this and I'm just going to carefully roll the wire onto the blade. And basically that's going to make a cut in the actual wire shielding, the plastic shielding, and then I can just with my hand I can peel it off, and as you can see there we have the exposed wire. Now I'm going to do the same for the white wire. Again, I just put the shielding onto the blade and just roll it, and then you can just pull it off with your hand and you have the exposed wires. Okay, now we can put wire nuts on these when we're back up there. Okay, now that we have the mounting plate installed and we have the chandelier up here, we can use the support cable to hang the chandelier while we deal with the wiring. So I'm going to take the carabiner that's on the end of here and I'm just going to hook it to the installation plate. and then let the chandelier hang. The installation plate, if it's installed properly, should be able to handle the full weight of the chandelier without problems. Now, we just have to match up wires and install these wire nuts. So I'm going to start with the ground, which is the naked wire. So we'll twist it around the naked wire coming out of the ceiling, and then we'll slip the wire nut on and turn it clockwise. Turn it clockwise until it stops. Now I'm going to take the two black wires and do the same thing. We'll twist them onto each other, take the wire nut, put it on the end, and turn clockwise. Last wire is the white wire. Again, we'll take it, twist it around the wire coming from the ceiling, put the wire nut on, turn it clockwise, and now our chandelier is wired properly. Okay, the next step is to get these wires that we've now connected out of the way so that we can put the base on the ceiling. You'll see that there's two threaded screws coming through the base. That's what we're going to mount this part to, with these little nuts that came with the chandelier itself. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to tuck these wires out of place. To do that, we'll disconnect the carabiner of the support wire. We'll take the ground wire and we'll tuck it inside the bracket up here, just to make sure it's out of the way. Then we're going to take the black wire and do the same thing. Tuck the wire nut out of the way. And the white wire, and we'll kind of coil it up, and again, tuck it out of the way. Make sure the wires aren't touching each other. Okay, now that we've finished wiring, we just have to line up these exposed threads with the holes in the chandelier base, and we can start mounting it. Once they're lined up, we take the nuts and we screw them onto the exposed threads. Excuse Riley. Okay, our chandelier is mounted. Alright, now that we have our chandelier installed up here, we need to put the light bulbs in, turn the power back on, and make sure it works. Okay, the power's back on. It's the moment of truth. Let's make sure the light works. Okay, we have light. As you can see, it's giving off an amber glow. That's because the light bulbs we installed have amber glass on them, and we did that to preserve kind of the style of the actual chandelier.